Hi, this is Moshe Morris from WebYeshiva. Welcome to our class in the halachas of the shofar. I'm excited to begin and excited to have you all in the shiur. We're going to start with Siman Tov Kof Pei Hey and just kind of move our way down through the Shulchan Aruch, getting as far as that we're able to get. Not trying to cover ground per se, trying to understand whatever we learn when we learn it. But at the same time, it'd be nice to learn more halachas and less halachas. But we're going to make sure that we learn everything to a certain standard of understanding. I'd like to base this shiur off of the Shulchan Aruch and the Mishnah Berurah. I don't expect everybody in the shiur to read the Mishnah Berurah. Those of you who are able to, please work on it. Please try to prepare it. As you see, I have it here in this PDF file that I've uploaded to the shiur page. Other people who the Mishnah Berurah is a little bit hard for, work on just reading the Shulchan Aruch. As you see, I've indented the Mishnah Berurah in this sheet, so you can easily see what's the Shulchan Aruch and what's the Mishnah Berurah. So for those of you the Hebrew is a little bit harder, work on trying to be able to read the Mishnah Berurah and the Shulchan Aruch in of itself. And then in the shiur you'll get the ideas that the Mishnah Berurah brings out. Now, I myself in the shiur, I'm not going to necessarily limit myself to just the Mishnah Berurah. I'll bring in other sources at times, and when need be, I'll have you, I'll send those to you so you can also prepare them. But for us, in terms of the text that we want to work on, I think the Mishnah Berurah is an excellent place to start. I'm not the only one who thinks that, obviously, and it's good also for working on our ability to read and learn halachic text. So that's what I've decided to, in terms of what I'd like you to prepare for before shiur, and more importantly, try to review after shiur, is the Shulchan Aruch and the Mishnah Berurah. Now, with that said, what I'd like us to start doing is there's 5 seifim in Siman Tov Kof Pei Hey, and I'd like us to just start with the Shulchan Aruch for the seifim, not go to the Mishnah Berurah yet. Here, for instance, here's Sif Aleph, and then down below we have Sif Bet, and so on and so forth. So go through these 5 Sifim. The fifth one's rather short, but so is the first one. Go through them, read them, and as always, start with your questions. For those of you in my Chumash shiur, you've already heard this, the importance of asking a question first. Before we try to get answers, we need to know what type of questions we're going to look for, and there's certain questions that will kind of be standard that you will ask over and over again, and other questions which will be unique to each halacha or each issue. So start there. Even better would be if you could try to actually memorize just the sifim. Just start with the first sif. Start with Sif Aleph. Work on reading it in Hebrew. Get help with that. Take advantage of a Sholem Meishiv, get chavrusa as people in your local community. Ask me for help. However it is, work on being able to read the Hebrew inside by yourself with for all the sifim. In addition to that, try to be able to say, without having to look at the Shulchan Aruch, memorize the basic points in these 5 halachas, these 5 sifim, so that you can have those, at least that basic information at your fingertips. I'm not going to say it right now, but you'll be able to, so you can know what the basic fundamental points are. Of course, the Mishnah Berurah will elaborate. We'll go into the sources of things. We'll talk about modern day issues, how we do things today. It's not going to end. It doesn't begin. It doesn't end with the Shulchan Aruch, but it's certainly a great jumping board for us, and a good starting place to have the basic points of halacha that we're familiar with. And so saying that to memory is a good process, a good thing, I think. So that's it for now for the beginning shiur. Later on we'll get into the Mishnah Berurah. For those of you who can read the Mishnah Berurah, memorizing the main points of the Mishnah Berurah is also excellent. And for that, you could do it sif by sif. Don't try to memorize the entire Mishnah Berurah for the entire siman. That usually is very difficult. And don't go into all the nuances unless you have that type of memory. Just get the fundamental points. And then the more you do that, the easier it will be to remember other halachas later on. And it's always good to have this type of information at your fingertips. With that said, the point here is not necessarily memorization, it's understanding. Of course, we have to have a certain amount of memorization for halacha. We have to know what to do in certain situations. Although some halachas are, usually left to Gabaim and other people, but in general, we need to know what to do before we get into the situation so that we can act appropriately. But we're also going to work on comprehension, as I said, understanding both the foundations of the halacha and the halacha as it's developed later on in Jewish history. All right. Again, I look forward to seeing you on shiur. That's all for now. Moshe Morris. Bye-bye.